Welcome. My name is John Paul Nabrowski, and I'm excited to guide you in this mindfulness meditation. Let's find ourselves into a comfortable posture and just begin right away. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention on purpose to this moment without judging it, without reacting to it. And so what we're practicing here in mindfulness is presence. And so we begin by just giving ourselves some time to allow in this moment to arrive in this moment. Noticing what it feels like to be sitting down, feelings of contact beneath you, butt on your seat, feet on the floor, hands on your lap or wherever they are. And notice the sounds around you. Maybe overhearing voices, and maybe rumbling of cars, or maybe your environment's very still, maybe it's very loud. But just notice the sounds around you. And then we can begin here by noticing the breath in the body. The rising and the falling of the breath. There's nothing special to do here. It's very simple, really. We're practicing presence by paying attention to the breath. And I'll explain these qualities of the breath, why we pay attention to the breath, why we practice paying attention to the breath. For one thing, as soon as you look towards it, here it is. Your breath's been here this entire day, your entire life. And yet here and now, you're noticing it. One of the reasons that we practice paying attention to the breath is because we so often get caught up in autopilot. Automatically going from one activity to the next, automatically hopping from one thought to another thought to another thought, one reaction to another reaction. And we connect with the breath because it's a very visceral, embodied experience. It's also something that's happening automatically. And so it helps us to practice becoming aware of this autopilot. Paying attention to the breath helps us to notice how much is going on that we miss. Another quality of the breath that you might notice here that makes it a helpful anchor is that it's always moving. It's always changing. And notice that. Notice how each breath is slightly different. Yet at the same time, in this steady and dynamic change, there's steadiness. And so we focus on the breath. We're training our attention on the breath because it's steady enough that it's really calming, soothing, slowing. And at the same time, it moves enough that it can kind of give us a little bit more friction to pay attention to. It can be helpful for our minds that struggle to be still to be with something that's moving. So that's what we're doing in the breath practice. We're following the physical movement of the breath as it rises and falls. Another quality of the breath is that it really is our anchor for life. And so it's appropriate for it to be our anchor for the practice. Our breath is taking care of us from one moment to the next. It's always here. As soon as we look towards it, it's here. And so just like in our daily lives, as you're sitting here to practice mindfulness meditation, as you're sitting here practicing paying attention to the breath, undoubtedly your mind is going to get caught up wondering, thinking, planning, fearing. I'm sure it already has, just like mine. That's okay, because that's what minds do. Our goal is not to have an iron focus on the breath. It's to learn to pay attention to the breath, and then when the mind wanders off, as it inevitably will, to practice mindfulness by becoming aware that we're distracted, but in a way that's non-judgmental, in a way that's non-reactive. And then simply coming back to this breath and beginning again. In this mindfulness of breath practice, we are learning to begin again over and over and over again. For in our lives, there is constant change. It's the nature of reality. And so we learn to begin over and over again, but without the judgment, without the reactiveness. And so in the beginning, this is very difficult, because we're pretty hard trained for the judgment and the reactiveness, and that's okay. I want to invite you to begin by not judging the judgment when you notice it, not reacting to the reaction when you react. You cannot stop judgment with judgment. You can't stop reaction with reaction. The only way to stop judgment is to step back from it. The only way to stop reaction is to stop feeding into it. And this is what we're doing in the mindfulness practice. We're learning to recognize when our mind has gotten caught wandering off, And then we're just stepping back from it. And how do we step back from it? We step into the breath. We let those thoughts go. This is not about stopping thoughts. You can't do that. It's not possible. It's not about clearing the mind. No. It's about learning that the best we can do is respond to this moment. And so in this moment, when our mind has wandered off, we come back to this breath. We step out of the autopilot, stepping into the breath, and we practice presence. So we're paying attention to the sensation of the breath. And then if you find your mind wandering, as I just did, we're noticing that. And then just coming back to the breath. Without drama, without a fuss. As soon as we notice that the mind has wandered off, we recognize those thoughts and come back to this breath. And then for the last few moments here, I want to just invite you to begin again. Like you were just sitting down at this mindfulness practice for the very first time. And notice your breath. There's no greater gift in life that we can give to ourselves and to those we love than learning to simply begin again with an open heart. To pay attention to this moment. To be here, wherever here is. And in the mindfulness of breath practice, we're learning to be here by training the skill of being with this breath. And so noticing again your body, noticing again the sounds around you, the breath. In your time, you can open your eyes, noticing how you feel. And our intention here is that in cultivating this practice of mindfulness meditation, we're increasing this state of mindfulness so that it can become a dispositional trait. So I encourage you to carry this practice with you of paying attention on purpose to this moment without judging and without reacting. Carry this with you throughout your day. Thanks for joining me, and take good care.